Okay, now this is Revere Street right here, and it's a very short distance from Revere to Woodford. Yeah. So when we turn left, it would be very difficult to move to the left lane in this stretch, which means it's much better to move into the left lane before Revere Street. Yeah.
And that left lane here is not a turn lane?
Yeah, there's no markings in these lanes.
Okay.
That was a mistake, sorry about that.
Yeah.
These lanes, from Revere to Woodford, the solid line all the way, and this is a left turn only lane.
Okay. Yeah.
So
And
that's why we're saying
this shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Try to ignore that. Okay. So yeah. So the point is, this is too short a distance to move to change lanes in easily. So we have to change lanes back here.
Like immediately, pretty much.
Yeah. Another consideration is that Revere gets the green and you can start moving, but there's a separate signal here for left turns and for throughs. In fact, I'll draw that.
Yeah. So the point there is, you don't have to, if there's someone waiting behind you here, then you're both going to end up waiting at this light. So you're really not slowing anyone down. It's the light that's going to slow everyone down.
It's also the case that most of the time there's a lot more traffic in this lane because they want to continue on Forest Avenue. They don't want to turn on Woodford. So you'll be delaying people less by moving into that lane, because then all these right turners don't have to worry about trying to pass you and then getting back into their right turn to continue on Forest. Okay? So there's a parking lot over here that we're going to turn into. As usual, we'll turn into a parking lot on the right after we make the turn. So your path is going to be getting into Revere Street at some point, or getting into the left lane sometimes for Revere Street. Up here, we'll probably have to wait for the red arrow to change to green there. Take your left, and into the parking lot. Now, another consideration is that after you make your left turn, there are a couple things here. There's usually parked cars somewhat after you make your turn. There's also a set of railroad tracks.
Okay.
Now, at this point, these are not very diagonal. They're fairly perpendicular. We'll talk about diagonal ones. Actually, further up Forest, they cross diagonally, and that's where we'll talk about what to do about diagonal ones. These are not so diagonal, so try and take them perpendicularly, but we'll talk more about that later on.
Right.
But just things you have to watch out for after you turn. Be careful on the tracks and watch out for parked cars. Now there's a longer distance than I've shown at this scale between the time you turn and the time you get to the parked cars. So you may feel like if there's traffic in back of you, there's just one lane. It's a fairly wide lane, but it's just wide enough that if the cars weren't there, you'd be fine. But with the cars there, you might feel you get close passing if you try to let them pass you. So either you control the lane, or if you don't feel like you want to control the lane, you can let them pass you. And if you've got the parked cars coming up, you have to make sure whether there's anyone pulling back at you or not. If there's someone pulling back at you, you might have to slow down and maybe you can stop before pulling out around the parked cars. So that's a trade-off. So either control the lane or be more careful around the parked cars and possibly get delayed waiting for an overtaker to pass you. So definitely look over your shoulder after you've completed that turn to see what the situation is.